The verdict came in this afternoon, and there's a lot of celebrations going on the streets right now, and hopefully that'll bring some peace to George Floyd's family. But what do you guys think? How are you guys feeling right now?
I'll say that I got to be very transparent, and I was very optimistic, that he would be charged. But if I'm very transparent, I'm going to be honest and say that I did not think that he would be charged at all. I did not think that they would evict him. I didn't think that he would be found guilty. And if I remember correctly, this was the case that sparked so much outrage from millennials and Gen Zers over the summer of 2020. That we went to the streets and we rallied and we protested together because we were tired of seeing our Black brothers and sisters being killed unjustly by the police. So for them to show the world that it's not okay and you will not get off on, being convicted, I am happy in one instant, but at the same, just today, I just learned that another little Black girl named Micaiah in Columbus, Ohio, a 15-year-old little girl was just shot and killed by a police officer. So while this is a huge step in the movement and what we're trying to do, I also think that we just have a long, long way to go.
And Tom, a big key that you said, we got to have justice, but it's all angles, because I heard there was another story in Chicago. A young girl, I think, was killed at McDonald's or something. I don't know if y'all heard about that, but it's like everybody needs justice. I don't care if it's somebody on the streets, if it's a police officer, it's like nobody's bigger than anybody. If you do something wrong, if you murder somebody, you need to go to jail. You need to pay the price for that, just like everybody else does. And it's just unfortunate with this George Floyd situation that it just took so long, Even when you was watching those hearings, we got the video evidence. The man was murdered in daylight. Like, why are we here? So today is a good day, but like Tom said, at the same time, it's like, where's the real change? Another young kid was murdered by police today.
Yeah, but what I'm honestly, to answer your question, Jazz, I'm feeling a little bit hopeful. Because honestly, like I know Anton said, you didn't think he was going to be charged. I didn't either. And I thought they were going to acquit him. And I think he as well, if you saw his demeanor during the trial, he seemed very relaxed. I don't know if you guys kept up with the trial, but I watched like 80% of it. He was very calm. When they were mentioning his misconduct, he would smirk. And he just looked too confident that he was going to be acquitted. And honestly, hearing that, not only was he guilty on 3 charges, it was 2nd-degree murder, 3rd-degree murder, and 2nd-degree manslaughter. Which those are hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt for the prosecution. So honestly, I do want to also honor the prosecution and all their work to defend George Floyd when he wasn't here to defend himself. And, there's a lot more cops, like they're all saying, with Dante Wright, who was just murdered by the woman police officer because she thought her gun was her taser. So yes, there is a long way to go, but I think if we don't celebrate these small victories, like finally police are being convicted of their crimes, then we'll never be happy, because it's always going to be little, and then the big change will come.
I like the fact that they, I feel like they made an example out of him, because he honestly looked shocked when he was convicted of it. He looked shocked. Like, I don't think he looked relaxed. I think he was kind of like, they really in here charging me right now. Like,
that's what I was getting. Yes.
But I feel like, honestly, I never got over Trayvon Martin. I'm hoodied up right now, so I think it's definitely a step towards the right direction. So I'm just happy that they're holding him accountable for his actions.
Well, I hope this brings some peace, but I think that we really need to turn our attention to the sentencing, because he's been found guilty of 2nd-degree murder, like you guys said, unintentional murder, 3rd-degree murder, and 2nd-degree manslaughter. So he's facing up to 40 years in prison. But do y'all think that he will get the maximum sentence?
Well, I do know that the court is trying him for an aggravated sentence, which is like, I believe, I'm not 100%, but like the max and possibly more because of the severity of his crime. And they also revoked his bail. So now he's going to be in jail until sentencing. So while I hope he gets the max sentence, honestly, I don't know. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
I definitely am a little nervous for the sentencing part. I feel like, I hope that it's not just a thing where, they're convicting him to make us, happy and feel like, we're getting somewhere, and then he gets a little amount, a little time charged. Like, that'll just be like a setback in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna get the full sentencing. I don't think he's going to get the maximum. To be, in my honest opinion, I really believe that they could not allow this man to get off free. They knew that in every state in America, there were going to be riots. There were going to be people just making them up and going crazy out there, because this had to be the example going forward for every other case similar to this. So I think while they couldn't allow him, to get off free, I think how they're going to really get off by him is giving him like a short sentence, giving him 10 to 15 years, and then he gets out in like 5.
Well, I'm hoping that this brings some peace to Darnella Frazier as well, since she was 17 years old when she filmed the video of George Floyd being murdered. And her testimony during the trial was heartbreaking. Now, do you guys think a verdict would have been reached so quickly if she hadn't gotten the whole video?
Hell no. Hell no. We wouldn't even go.
Yeah, there wouldn't even be a trial. There wouldn't be charges. There'd be none of that.
No, like the only difference with the past and now is we just got cameras, we're able to see it so fast. We have social media where you could see the truth. But if there was you got to imagine, in the past, there wasn't no video evidence. So they'll just go and walk. And one of my friends was saying, look, there's a lot of good cops out there too, but you got to be man enough or woman enough to put on that badge. If you put on that badge, don't go in there saying that you're afraid and you thought that you were grabbing a taser. That means you're not suited for the job. So when you do mess up, you have to go through what everybody else go through. And I think that's what needs to be made. Like if you make a crime or a mistake, just like we're going to be punished, you have to be punished as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I also just want to applaud Darnella too, because for her strength and her bravery and courage, because if you remember with Eric Gardner, his friend who recorded that, Ramsey Orta, he became a target. And his jeopardy was then at freedom. So a lot of people, when they get in these positions, they can easily fold. So to have her testify up there and stand on her truth and stand on what she saw, I think we have to applaud that as well, because a lot of people, when their jeopardy is on the line, they're going to fold. She could have easily been like, well, I still have my life, so let me just go on with my life. But she didn't do that. So she brought us justice as well. So I think we have to applaud her for that.
Something that she said while she was when she took the stand that really hit home for me was when she looked at him, she saw her father, she saw her uncles, she saw her nephews, her brothers. And it's one Black man. And if you have a Black man in your family that you love, you see him when you look at George Floyd. And that just really made everything understandable for me. And it really hit home for me in that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after the verdict was announced in the streets, you could hear people chanting Black Lives Matter in front of Cup Foods, which is the convenience store that George Floyd was last seen in with the $20 counterfeit bill. So what do you guys think that this means for the Black Lives Matter movement and for us moving forward?
It's well overdue. I'll never forget. I was on PV out campus at the time that Sandra Bland was going through what she went through with the cops. You got Michael Brown, you have Eric Gardner, you have Breonna Taylor, you got Tamir Rice, who was just a young boy. This is well overdue. Trayvon Martin. So I think it's just, and many others, of course, but it's definitely a step towards the right direction. And now, as you said, Jamie, I feel like we can only be hopeful.
I agree.
I think we need the Black Lives Matter movement, because when you have two sides and one side has a victory, I can only imagine what that other side is going to do to try to, get back at us for this, the Proud Boys and those racist, white men that are out there. So we need the Black Lives Matter movement after this, especially after this moment.
Yeah. And for me, man, I'm not big on, this side or that side and color and this. It's like, this is a fight between good and evil. And like I tell y'all, it's like it's a spiritual war going on as well, where it's like they have a lot of people, like Tom said, that isn't going to be happy that today happened. They wanted it to go the other way. They thought that, he was in the right. So for me, it's always going to be about just do what's right. If you do what's right in this world, then we'll be in a better place.
Yeah, that's huge. And like Romeo said, it's not, because I know people always assume racism and white people, and it's not Black people versus white. It's all of us, no matter race, color, gender, sexual orientation, against racism, against xenophobia, against
evil.
Yes, Romeo, evil. I'm trying to say it's not separated by race or color. It's separated by morals. and intelligence. And
Love
I'm
that,
I'm
Jamie.
gonna call Romeo that I think we need to go to break pretty soon.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that.
Guess what, y'all?
Get him right,
It's
Jamie.
time to go to break, okay?